How you doing? Hi, Abdul. Is the sound okay in the audio? Checking on everything here. So far, so good. We're doing okay. Oh, hey, I tell you, earlier today we had some buffering, and I think that was when a lot of people started adding. And so I got to say a bunch of stuff now. Abdul, let me ask you something. Is compared to when you started collecting watches, are there anything you used to see as a valuable kind of aspect of watch collecting that you don't think is true anymore? I mean, that you really don't look for anymore. Uh, when I first started, I didn't know anything, and I knew about Patek Philippe, and I figured, well, I'll get a Patek Philippe, and I did, and but that wasn't. I mean, I don't look at the brand anymore. I look at the watchmaker and all kinds of different things than I used to. Hi, Junior. How you guys doing? Um, Hi, football fan. Anyhow, um, so I was talking with chatting away with a rancher earlier, and he said, "Why don't you ask people what you dropped? I mean, what kind of things you don't value that you did at one time?" So I thought, yeah, that's what are a lot of the kind of stuff, but a lot of things that I I never valued resale value, and I know that's important to a lot of people, and some things like that, but I never did it, so it's not something I quit doing. Um, Another thing too. I was sort of I wasn't really mad at ETA uh, so much as it was I didn't like the fact that a lot of watch companies would have ETA movements and not tell anybody about it and sort of imply that they were in house or something like that. Well, like sort of it. I still don't like the fact that somebody has the. I don't care if they have a hamster on a running wheel in their watch. I just want to know what it is as a watch buyer, and I still think that's important. And but the thing is that I've learned a lot more about ETA, and ETA is got a lot of really good movements in it. Um, and some of the most popular ones are quite good. And I talk about different grades and the they're that's something else that I've come to appreciate. I s- don't I don't think I have any watch with that I intended to buy it and it had an ETA running it. Uh, Sometimes I there was always something else with it, like on my Kristen Vanderclaw. It's got an ETA underneath that they lied through their teeth about, but it has a Christian Vanderclaw module for the moon phase, which that's another story. It's impossible to set, but once set, that thing is extremely accurate. Um, One of my favorite watches has become a watch that I don't think anybody really, it's just not a watch that, a regular guy would have, and that's the Show Made Dandy. And by regular guy, I mean the kind of guy that would, have a watch that wasn't called a dandy, among other things. I mean, it's sort of like a fop, uh, but it turns out to be this incredible watch, not because of the ETA inside. The ETA is doing a great job. It's because of the module with the dual Agon pit um, gears in it. And so here you got the center, and then way over here you got this wheel. And then looking at it, it's just working perfectly. And until I knew about that and why that was important, it wouldn't have, watching a wheel or anything else on a watch isn't doesn't make my day. But once I found out about it and why it was doing what it was doing, and how the Agonese gearing sort of smoothed out the journey from an eccentric positioning of a movement of some sort, or a wheel or a second hand, that how it would, the problems that are caused by the further you move it away, the more likely you're going to have hesitations. And if you look at certain, especially ones that are sort of very much extended from the center second, you're going to see that. And so, stuff like that is that what I would, I don't want to have a watch with an ETA in it. Well, if it's got something else in there with it, that can really be a neat, it can really be a neat watch. So that was one of the things I changed my mind on. Hi, Tuna. Um, Hi, Ivan. There were no real independent watchmakers. That's interesting, Ivan. Um, okay. What I was trying to do, I was trying to do as much interaction, just in case things got jammed up with the buffering that happened this morning. Let me try to think of something else that. Um, one thing that I still like, but I realize that it may end up being something that is way too expensive. And I like gold. I really like gold watches, but man, I tell you, uh, the way gold these days just adds on a ton of price to it. I think back around 2000, I had some watches from around 2000, in the early 2000s, and gold was like $200 an ounce. It is now about $2,000 an ounce. So I don't know if any of you seen that video of Roger Smith. He's got these rods of gold, and then he takes it and he bends it and does stuff and flattens it out and everything, and then puts together his own cases with pure gold. It's just amazing. But I see this rod of gold. I thought, my God, that thing must cost a fortune these days. Hey, Rancher, I was telling everybody about your idea, so we're going ahead with it. Okay, what else? For me, collecting was a journey with the different styles, forms, and patterns. Abdul, I tell you, that's probably been true with me too. you know, I've got, I like to think I know what I'm doing, and then I find out that I think a recent journey, Abdul, that you and I and Rancher and some other guys all took together totally changed my mind about what watch collecting was all about, or what watchmaking was all about. And it's really an amazing kind of what the Beatles call the magical mystery tour. Hi, Truman. Thomas, how are you? Um, what are some other things that you guys have, like, when you start, you're thinking one way and now you're not thinking that way anymore? Um, I'll try to think of some more things, but you guys, come on, help me out. Rancher, why don't you? It was your idea. You got to have something. Hi, BJ. Okay. My major horological goal is no longer infuriating minotaurs. Okay. I'm glad you got that off your chest. You know, um, one of the things, I don't know if it aggravates me or amuses me more. I think I've come to the point of amusement. You get these guys, they've been collecting for a very short period of time. They've been around certain low information sources, and they come out like they really know a lot. Wow, I would obviously do this or obviously do that. And I get a kick out of it. I used to go like, just thinking, "Gee, why do you wave the idiot flag?" And but it's sort of like a confidence. of that is ill-founded. I'll put it that way. But like I said, these guys, oh, I got my Acme watch and there's none better. I don't care what you guys don't know anything. I tell you something too. This is really some of you guys have been doing this for a while. Way back when I started, I think Archie was, I don't know whether he was starting or what he was doing, but he had some really good information about watches and watch collection. Anybody who, if you go back in his very early ones, and then he got crazy, just started doing all this crazy stuff. But I think he found out that was more people were interested in crazy than they were in sort of boring horology. The Lurique Journey was the best horologic I ever. I tell you, yeah, me too. That was something that I thought I knew a lot. I didn't. That's the fun part about watch collection. It has so many nooks and crannies. You could go through your entire career of watch collecting and sort of miss some. And boy, I tell you, our side trip, it may, may end up being more than that, into working with a group and creating this incredible watch. Man, I tell you, that's just a mind blower and really a very high, sort of really brings your knowledge level up. And I think part of the knowledge level that it brings up is you don't know as much as you think. That's an important discovery. Hi, James. I tried getting some older watches 20, 30 years ago and got burned. I'm staying away from older watches at least for a while. You know, something I got a couple, and I've had a couple in the past, but by and large, there's I just me and vintage watches. I don't have anything against them. In fact, a lot of them I really like, especially the movements. Um, but I can break any watch. So I got a key wound watch, a pocket watch, because I wanted to uh, make a wristwatch out of this key wound one. So I got it, and then I took it out and got it out of the case, got it into a new case, got everything ready, and broke it. So that was that was something. Yeah, and that was one thing too. I would recommend to anybody is to take a course in watchmaking. It's or even there's this English watchmaker. Forgot his name. He's great though. I saw one of his videos, and he just goes through. He says, here you can get this stuff off of eBay and put together your own watch. Um, I You can do that, or you can go to AliExpress and put together a watch for very little money, and that I think will give you some kind of appreciation. Sometimes it may not be the right one, but that's okay. You learn a lot. The other thing is take a course in watchmaking. There's one online that you can take the whole thing online. It's really great. Um, that's another thing I would always, and you can't learn too much. That's the other part. Um, okay, let's see. Hey, Captain Kirk. Uh, when you don't have big breasts, you you have to be crazy. Captain Kirk, that's just weird. Um, okay, let's see. Hey, Donald. Truman, yeah, I think there were. Um, yeah, go Queensland. Like I said, it's like he really had some good stuff. I mean, just some good pure horology, good tips and stuff. I don't know what happened. He went off the rails. It seemed to me anyway. Let's see. I was looking at a Generation 2 Omega Speedmaster X33. It was misrepresented on eBay, came broken, then they refused to return. Yeah, that's no fun. I've had great luck on eBay. ever since they started they have some kind of program that it goes through an evaluator, and the evaluator looks at it, makes sure it's okay, and then they send it to you. That's great. I got a couple watches, two or three watches that way. I got one from Japan. Um, there's certain other kinds of things. eBay, I think it was eBay. One thing I like about it is that when you're in customs, when your watch goes through customs, if you're buying something from overseas, what eBay does, and I think it's eBay, or it could be some arrangement they have with somebody, you get a little note and you say, it says, oh, the customs, you got to pay your customs charges, and they tell you what it is right away, and boom, you can take care of it. I had some things come FedEx, and what a hassle that was. They're held up at customs. Oh, okay. Well, what do I do to get them out? And I had to go through a lot of rigmarole on that. But I think it was both DSL. Is that it? And oh, what's Big Brown? Anyway, FedEx didn't seem to be doing the job, even though I trust FedEx more than anybody else. I was, I just had sort of a problem with customs. Oh, what's okay? Let's see what you got here. I have more appreciation for independent and other brands, yeah, that produce small qualities with high end movements and exquisite hand finishing. Same here. Um, yeah. Change a few words there, Rancher, and I'll let you send it through. They use the authentication services to shield the seller. What? The seller said I had to go through eBay. eBay said I had to go through their seller. The authentication service is a scam, I think. Did your watch go through authentication and then it came and it was broken? That's not good. Untimely meditations. Uh-oh. Somebody read my T-shirt. I got this T-shirt. My son, I did big mistake. I asked my son. He said, "What do you want for what was it birthday?" I said, why don't you give me some T-shirts?" That was ones that I thought he was going to, and he got me the most ones I often couldn't wear in public. But this was one sort of a West Coast slacker shirt that he got me. Hi, Al 29. DSL, yeah, they're very good. Um, UK customs duties seem expensive. Boy, they are. Yeah, they're like 20% I think, or something like that. I think it's the same as VAT. That's one thing the US is great on. They're um, the customs on watches, especially gold watches. The customs on gold are less than they are in stainless steel, and this goes back to way to a time that no longer exists. Is when the United States made a lot of watches, and so in order to protect the steel watches, they had a lot of they. It was um, higher tariff on them than there was on the gold ones. So it was sort of a funny thing. Yeah, yeah, vintage is a minefield. I learned to resale value is a consideration, not the consideration. Yeah, I probably am the worst on that. I don't look at it at all. I suppose that it's something like my entire collection of Jacques 736s. I don't think they have any resale value uh, other than what you can you know cobble together. Um, but I don't care because I know that nobody else wants them and I do. So it's sort of a good thing. Um, there are a couple. I mean, I think I have a total of 5 watches by 5 different watch companies. All of them have their Jacques 736, and you know, I there's only like, yeah, 2 or maybe 3 watch companies or watches that still have that. So, um, U.S. custom is 20% net applies to shipping. Shipping costs. Good God. They charge a shipping cost? I mean, charge a tax shipping cost? You know, I tell you something. Um, the guys at Larique, we sent a gift to one of the this little girl who got COVID. We felt bad that she was one of the people. She was the daughter of one of the people we were working with, and so I sent it, and when it got to Swiss Customs, they wanted to know exactly what it cost and everything because they were going to put their, they had to tax it too. You know, it wasn't that much. It was under $100. So, but still, that's the way it is. By the way, too, if I'm lucky, if all of us are lucky, the guys at in Larique, excuse me, if our watch makes the nominations, I'm heading over there. I mean, we may win something. In November, you get to go to the big show they have in November. I think Abdul's gonna try to make it there too. But I was talking to Mike Margolis, and he told me that they, if you take more than one watch, you really should be, especially a Swiss watch, fill out the paperwork ahead of time. I guess there's some paperwork you can fill out. I gotta check it out on the U.S. side too. Somebody said years ago, a guy said what he did, he would take pictures of his watch along with the any kind of receipts or purchase things that he had, and he'd just take a picture of it and put it in his camera, his store it in his iPhone or whatever he had, and then if they ask about it, you could always bring it up. Sort of like like right now, I guess your COVID information. Sometimes you can put it on your phone. I know they want to have a card that's written in your blood that says, this guy's got his shots. I can see why. Um, Over time, comfort has become an important factor. An uncomfortable, exquisite watch has no value. Um, there's some watches that an uncomfortable watch wouldn't be any fun. Trying to think, I don't, I don't think I have any. I've been very fortunate. This this one is big. This is a real big watch, and it's an unusual shape to it, and but it's very comfortable. One of the ones that I thought was going to be really uncomfortable is this Beauvais 1930 that I got. That thing has the bow and crown, and it looks like one of the early ones when they sort of welded together a pocket watch along, to make a wristwatch. That is one of the most comfortable watches I have. It's really funny, you never know. Um, the brass movement, yeah, I tell you, I could buy a new house with that one. That thing is just crazy. I like it though, untimely meditations. Um, yeah, I hope the old our watch. I am planning to come to GPHG if we are in the finals. I can pick it up as well, as it's not far from the car. Great. Uh, if I want a pre-owned Harry Winston, how can I find out what movement is inside, and how does eBay authenticate something so obscure? They probably don't, would be my guess. I had to go through a lot to find out what mine was. I I had heard that Roger Dubuis and uh, Jean-Marc Viderec had worked together at for Harry Winston. And so what I did is that the retrograde on it, the dual retrograde, as a matter of fact, I sent a note to Agenor. I said, just tell me anything about this. And man, I tell you, I got more help from Nicholas there. But you sort of have to know in the first place. Now, on the other hand, my this one I've had no luck on. This is the Jacquet 736 was by Jean-Pierre Jacquet, and he got in a whole lot of trouble. He got in a heap of trouble. And so he got more or less kicked out of watchmaking after this, what was called the Jacquet affair. And so I sort of tracked down um, someone who would know him, namely his son, and I said, "Hey, I collect these things, and I'm really curious what's the base movement? What was the ibauche that they used to put this 736 movement together?" Nothing, nothing at all. I talked to some other people who knew the guy, and it was sort of like, if your best friend went to jail for something really awful, and you don't want to admit knowing the guy, sort of rough. The Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was talking about the Harry Winston retrograde. Um, there are some other ones. Remember Harry Winston didn't use didn't make movements at all. I don't. I think after they were bought by Swatch, I was in New York a few years ago at the Harry Winston shop and talking to the guys there about it and asked them, after they bought Harry Winston, I said, "Well, what's going to happen? I mean, what movements?" And the guy told me, he said that they were going. This one guy he worked at Harry Winston. I don't know whether he knew anything or not, but he said they were going to use Blanc Pon. Um, and uh, I don't know if they have or not. I don't know whether they're going to have the Opus, the annual or semi, or let's see, every other year biannual uh, Opus or not. Those were, geez, it's incredible. A Harry Winston watch, though, the premier line of watches. They've got some watches in there that are just they're really worth far more than they cost. I think. But like I said, I didn't get it because I was looking for resale because I think right now you can resell anything, it seems. But I think in the long run, if you're looking at resale, that's not the way to go. But if you're looking for something affordable by some really top watchmakers, that is way you can find some. It's like DeWitt. I used to get this offer from this guy all the time with these DeWitts. And some of the DeWitts, and just like there's another brand, forgot I forgot the name of it, but these guys like Kerry Vouten and Daniel Roth they were the ones who did it. And right now, and a lot of us are in the same boat. I could kick myself for not getting that watch. One time there was this Chronomet Cervane, this beautiful one in Mexico, and it was a really decent price on it. And I thought about it and thought about it, and boom, it was gone. And another guy, what's his name? Matthew, I think his name is Matt, who has a lot of stuff with. Oh God, he had FP Journe at one time. He was saying the same thing. It's sort of good that somebody else who was thinking about it and passed on it and wish they hadn't. Uh, I'm not even sure if they pop out the case back to check the movement with the eBay authentication. I don't know what they do. That's I feel a lot better about it though. When I got that Chaumet dandy, what was it called? Open face, dandy arty open face. What a name. You know, the guy, he probably looked at it and says, well, it looks okay. Shake it. And, okay, we'll pass it on. I have no idea what they do. But if they sent me one, that was a lemon, man, I tell you, I'd let them know right away. I would hope they would do something for it. I think they charge it's about $65 or something. And if they're looking at the thing for 2 minutes, that's a ripoff. But if they're spending some time to really see to make sure that you're not getting a fake Rolex or something, then it becomes important. Um, is that the same Jacquet as the company Jaeger-LeCoultre? I'm glad you asked that question. It's not. Okay. Jaeger-LeCoultre, this is a Jaeger-LeCoultre, and it has a Jacquet 736 movement. And a lot of people thought, well, they're the same thing. They're not. There's no relationship. First of all, Jaeger-LeCoultre, Jacquet is the first name, and on the Jacquet 736, this was from Jacquet SA, whose founder was Jean Jean-Pierre Jacquet. So, but it's something. It's sort of like a very common name, I think, Jacquet. And so, you know, tell you, here's a story I've told before. You probably know it. That Jaeger-LeCoultre, the original Jaeger-LeCoultre, I think around sometime in 1781 or something like that, married Marianne Sandoz. And the Sandoz Family Foundation owns this. They own so much of the watch. They have sort of a vertical watchmaking. But the thing that most people don't realize is that the Parmigiani Fleurier is just the watchmaking branch. They a lot of really top watches use their Vacher Fleurier MVF, manufacturer Vacher Fleurier movements. They use their hairsprings. The number of hairsprings that Autocolpa makes is huge compared to, I mean, the number of Parmigiani Fleurier watches that they come out of. So it's sort of an interesting thing to see all of these networks and ties that go back forever. Uh, yeah, how do you find out the movement? Going back to Washington fan, you just sort of look at. Let me tell you how I found out mine. I just remembered there was a guy who was a member of High Horology Lounge, who I found out worked for Girard-Perregaux. At the time, he did. He works for Audemars Piguet now. And so what he did, he was this great help. He found out. He showed me the exact movement, even a prototype of it. That the of the uh, oh, damn, now I forgot the name. Girard-Perregaux. Okay, because I was thinking Girard-Perregaux made the movement. Then the retrograde was made by Jean Jean Claude, not Claude, but Jean-Marc Viterer. Too many Jeans and too many Jacques. Um, Jacques Droz, didn't he end up in jail? No, no, not Jacques Droz. Jacques Droz made most of his fortune. This is back in the 19th century, during the 1800s. He would sell watches to the imperial court in China. But on the other hand, the other Jacques, Jean-Pierre Jacquet, he was involved in the most stupid. It was a robbery. There were, just I mean, kinds of stuff that rarely happens in the Swiss watch business. Big scandal. Miranda was involved. Ulysse Nardin was involved. There was a lot more, but he was the guy that basically they were making fake Rolexes. So it was like they stole a whole bunch of gold Rolex case. Just stupid stuff because Jacques SA was doing pretty good. And of course, as soon as he had to go up the river, so to speak, what happened? They changed the name to La Perrier, which is still making watches today. They were bought by Citizen. So there's all of these these networks and things going on. Hey, Raj. Um, Drop. Oh, Jacques, you mean? Did Jacques does have a workshop a few doors from Breguet in Paris? He may have. I don't know. There were a lot of guys back then, like El Leroy, Louis Leroy, who was one of the guys back then. He made a watch for Marie Antoinette's Swedish boyfriend. Um, uh, Jean Marc, thanks. Um, I think uh, Rancher. I know the difference between robberies and burglaries, and I think they were both involved. But I could be wrong. It could have been straight up burglary. But I thought there were some other guys from the outside who came in who were like busted in and did some robbery. But and well, see, this is the other problem with the whole Jacques affair. Here you had these Miranda was involved, and they made some part for Rolex. So did I don't know if Jacques SA did, but they were what they would do is that basically they'd get an iBosch, and then they'd make different movements, including my wonderful shape movement, the 736. So I don't know. That's there's a lot to that story. I tell you, who did a good thing on it was Tim Masso. He had a thing on it that he did a while back. I did a thing on it a long time ago. I don't know if either one of us has all of the details because man, I tell you, it's really hard to get information. I tell you, a guy who does know it, RGM, uh, Roland Murphy. Roland Murphy bought a batch of the Jacques 736s back, I think, around 1999. And I was talking to him at one of the shows. I said, "Hey, yeah, can you give me any more information on it?" And he gave me probably more than he should have. I'll put it that way. Uh, and but they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about that whole incident at all. And so you pick up what you can pick up. Uh-oh. Okay. Make that 9 minutes. Sorry, guys. All right. Oh yeah. I had on my 21 and it's lopsided, so that's what happened. Hey, look, guys, thanks a lot for coming. And I guess we didn't have any of the buffering that we had earlier. If not, that's a great thing. So take care and hasta la vista.